have it.
Hello and welcome to the program. I am Ekene Ndulue. President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, says the National Assembly will pass the 2023 appropriation bill in December this year. This was during the reception in his honor after being conferred with the National Award of Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger. 10 other senators were also honored after they were conferred with the award of Commander of the Order of the Niger.
Senators, staff and well-wishers of President of the Senate Ahmad Lawan were at his residence to congratulate him and other awardees for the national honor. President of the Senate Ahmad Lawan observed that every senator in the 9th National Assembly deserves the award. He emphasized that every senator exhibited high sense of commitment in their interventions and that the national award will further spur them to do more, especially with the 2023 budget in the legislative mill.
Like we did before the previous 3 sessions, we are going to pass the budget by the grace of God before the end of December.
Some senators noted that the honor done to President of the Senate is deserving and a product of commitment to nation building.
If any person will claim success in this democratic dispensation, I believe you are one of them.
This is the first time you find about 12 senators getting this kind of national honor.
To my colleagues, this award to just a few of us is for all of us.
Our colleagues in the 9th Senate worked so hard.
Senator Lawan and 11 other senators received different categories of national honors, which they dedicated to the 9th Senate.
And less than a week after receiving the 2023 budget proposal from President Muhammadu Buhari, the Senate has passed the bill for second reading with emphasis on critical scrutiny on the increases in recurrent expenditure. The budget was referred to the Senate Committee on Appropriations ahead of the budget defense phase by ministries, departments, and agencies.
After Senate suspended its plenary on Tuesday because of the National Honors Award involving 2 presiding officers and some members, the legislators continued with legislative business Wednesday. After receiving the 2023 budget from the executive last week Friday, senators have considered the provisions of the money bill and passed it for second reading.
All over the world, there's economic problem, and Nigeria is not an exception, but we need to reduce the cost of governance.
There are leakages in even the platform that we use in collecting government revenues.
We need to ensure prompt and effective collection of water bills, or power bills, or health bills, so that all these funds will be used to liquidate the monies that we are borrowing.
Reduction in budget deficit, leakages in revenue generation, and continuous increment in recurrent expenditure, even in years when there was embargo on employment, was of concern.
Don't we also need to look at the size of the bureaucracy of our government? When you have a situation whereby people still go on consistently on foreign trips, local trips, and so on, and many nebulous consultancy.
If there is that time or after, we should even investigate. Why is our recurrent expenditure going up? Why is it supposed to go down?
Therefore, I urge my colleagues to approve the second reading of this appropriation bill 2023 for consideration by the appropriation committee and its subcommittees.
Desire of this Senate and indeed the National Assembly, the 9th National Assembly, is to pass to consider and pass the budget before Christmas, before the 25th day of December. And for us, our committees, we must be extremely critical. Because this time around, I believe that we need to look at every cranny of what the budget proposal is.
Well, you know, this is part of our annual ritual, actually, here at the National Assembly, for us to expect the President to come and lay the budget and also present his hopes and budget for the following year. But I haven't listened to it. I think it's it's a challenging budget. Let's be honest with ourselves. There's a lot of fiscal challenges in terms of revenue, in terms of oil pipeline vandalism, and added with the global economic challenges that we have. So it's a budget that we are going to look at thoroughly and try and see how we can augment our revenue side in meeting some of the needs and expenses that are needed. Obviously, the issue of oil subsidy is still a major critical issue, which he too acknowledged is not sustainable, which we have always said that, obviously. And but I know that he's also concerned about the fallout of it, especially for the masses. So these are some of the things that we're going to look at. But overall, it was a good presentation, and we are looking forward to deliberating and taking a deeper look into the budget.
All right, and like I said, this is Mr. President's final budget presentation to the legislature. How would you assess his general outings over the past, let's say, 3-4 years?
You know, you have to give it to President Buhari. I mean, he's a statesman par excellence. He's very dignified, and also you can also see his years of military training. It shows in even the way he walks and his discipline. So in terms of his outings, I mean, you can never fault his outing. He's always very well prepared. You can see that the speeches, he was able to read them fluidly. So in terms of his presentation, I think he's lived up to the expectations of Nigerians and what really do expect from our head of state.
Well, obviously, this is the last budget that the president will give before leaving office, and so naturally there are a lot of expectations as to how this one will look like before he exits. Well, nothing appears to be dramatically different apart from the amount. This is the highest amount, if my recollection serves me right, this is the highest amount we've ever had, in a budget. But then you begin to look at, examine the budget closely, you begin to ask what exactly is different apart from the amount. You have, for instance, debt servicing is higher than the capital component of the budget. It has been a concern in the past, and it continues to be a concern. Okay, so let me give him kudos in certain areas. I mean, what has happened before, at least since I came to the National Assembly over 50 years back, we've been having issues, and even before I came, the issue we had was the budget, the performance of the budget. Now, let me start from the one that concerns us most, first and foremost, I should say, not concerns us most, but first and foremost, the constituency projects. Constituency project is important because it is because of constituency project that you get every sector, I mean every part of the country covered. Otherwise, I always say that, for instance, in my own local government, where I come from 1999 to now, if not for constituency project, there's no federal presence. And so it's critically important that we have this constituency project. What we've been having in the past is that you put the project there, but sometimes you get less than 50% of the funding. Buhari has improved on that. You sometimes, like presently what is going on, or in the past 1 or 2 years, you find that it's fully funded. And so that is meaning that every part of the country will have an impact of governance. Okay, so, but other than that, I think nothing there to see. The greatest worry of Nigerians now is insecurity, and it just glows over it. Apart from the usual, okay, we redouble our efforts to ensure that we reduce insecurity before we leave office. I think that is not cheering enough for Nigerians who are every day concerned about insecurity. People don't travel again. You find, tourism sites like Yankari or Buduan, people don't go there because of insecurity. Of course, I can't begin to talk about the ripple effect of insecurity, on and on and on and on, because it affects virtually every aspect of our living. And so he glossed over that. Let's be hopeful. I'm part of this government. Let's be very hopeful that somehow before he exits office, insecurity will be contained. At least in the past few months, after the National Assembly flexed muscles about impeachment or so, I don't know whether it's because of that threat or so, but I've noticed that things have really calmed down a little bit. And so that means that if we redouble efforts, insecurity can really be brought to its knees. The president had, before he took office, described oil subsidy as a scam that should be dealt away with. Now, this is the 7th going to the 8th year of his administration. We still have it there. We have spent, I'm not too sure about it, I think it's nearly 2 trillion already on oil subsidy. So why can't we have the political will to do away with it? It's a scam. I agree with him when he said that before he came into office, that it's a scam, that we have not been able to do away with it up to now, beats my imagination. And we have not seen anything in the budget, speech, which is like a State of the Nation speech, to see that he really wants to do away with that. And so those are some of the concerns. But we hope that he succeeds, because it's for the betterment of every Nigerian that the president succeeds before he leaves office. Because even if he succeeds or not, the worst hit will be the ordinary people on the street. Okay, so it is our prayer. As a National Assembly, I think we give him all the cooperation, as indeed we have been given, to the extent that we attracted the label of a rubber stamp assembly. We don't mind if we are called a rubber stamp assembly, insofar as that will help the president to achieve what he sets out to achieve. And so we'll do it to the very end of the tenure of this administration.
And for the legislature, it's very important that we maintain this January to December budget cycle. Just speak to us briefly on the importance of maintaining that.
Of course, it is. You see, if you look at the legislative agenda at the beginning of the 9th Assembly, both chambers, the House of Reps, and they made a commitment to Nigerians that we will bring it back, the January to December year, financial year will be brought back. And since it started happening, we have not reneged on that. I don't believe that anything will stand in the way of doing that. That's why we are happy that at least the budget proposal has been brought in early enough, so that we work on it before we proceed on Christmas break.
And here are highlights of other deliberations on the floor of the Senate.
Senate passed the Nigeria Police Trust Fund 2023 budget of 65.9 billion, while that of the 2022 FCT budget of 607.9 billion naira passed second reading. Senator Betta Piafi's motion called on the federal government to provide security along the Emoha-Kalabari Road in Rivers State and to commence its rehabilitation and other bad roads in Nigeria, address flooding in parts of Rivers West Senatorial District, Anambra Central, Anambra North, Adamawa and other parts of the country, and provide relief materials to victims.
Needs to make special provision in the 2023 budget to begin the process of addressing this issue of perennial flooding in Nigeria, as the flooding this year has been a major disaster.
Senate adjourned plenary to 15th of November 2022 for budget defense.
The Senate is urging ministries, departments and agencies to explore all avenues to improve their internally generated revenue. This was during an oversight of agencies in Lagos by the Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development.
Government agencies under the purview of the Senate Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development in the southern part of the country converge on the Nigerian Institute for Oceanography and Marine Research, Lagos, to present their scorecards within the last 2 years.
We've been training people from West Africa on our ship which you bought for us. That's the ship. It's the only one in the country now.
The amount remitted for 2020 and 2021 is 9.2.
For the year 2021, we generated 29.2 million and we remitted 8.6 million.
One common thing observed by the committee within the agencies is low revenue generation, among other concerns.
I think you have to do more on this idea.
For you to generate only 21 million, I think it's just disappointing.
Some of these projects, they just cut the government money out.
By the time they will come for the budget defense, they will ensure that the required balances of the remittances are made.
The committee also visited the Federal College of Fisheries and Marine Technology to assess progress there with a promise to give it more legislative support.
Nigeria is ahead of other countries in the reduction of duplication of activities in the coordination and management of AIDS. This was the view of the Director General, National Agency for the Control of AIDS, Dr. Gambo Aliyu, during an oversight visit by the Senate Committee on Primary Health Care and Communicable Diseases to the agency.
This legislative oversight is coming close to the 2023 budget defense at the National Assembly, and to that extent, issues relating to the performance of the 2022 budgetary allocations to the agency and its other sources of funds dominated the discussion.
What was given to NACA and NACA expended, or it is what actually NACA collected from sub-recipients and totaled it as the principal recipient for onward transmission to us.
You are talking about, is it you that allocate from the envelope, or is it that the releases are made by finance specifically for each of these activities and say this is what they have released for?
Setting standard as practiced in other countries of the world to eliminate duplication of activities in the management of HIV/AIDS is the focus of the Director General.
3 years ago, we started what we call alignment. And the alignment is basically geared towards preventing duplication and making sure there is value for money. But it's something that Nigeria has done extremely well, to the extent that the United States of America is now sending other countries to come to Nigeria and learn.
The committee, however, requested for details of funds received by the agency and usage to guide its proceedings during the 2023 budget defense.
The visit is to take stock of major activities of the center. The Director General of the NCDC gave an overview of the agency's performance in the period under review, ranging from budget allocation, releases and expenditure profiles.
2022, the amount appropriated is as shown, 1.7565940.789 billion. And 100% of the amounts released has been expended.
His presentation attracted questions from lawmakers.
Procurement of pharmaceutical medicines. This external assistance for supplies do they have any relationship with this particular project title?
Partners are very reluctant to provide things like that because they think it's government's responsibility.
Your recruitment policy has shown flagrant abuse of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Law created NCDC. We will have to look at this.
We already recognize this internally and have that in mind, and with your guidance, when the time comes, we should do better.
The oversight is in preparation for the 2023 budget defense at the National Assembly.
Nice to meet you. The chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Debre-Rewa, tells the new chairman of the Senate Committee on Diaspora and Non-Governmental Organizations, Senator Michael Nnachi. Senator Nnachi, appointed few weeks ago, is eager to assist the commission deliver on its mandate. The commission insisted on diaspora voting and improved funding for the commission, but the committee is of the view that strengthening the commission should go beyond increased funding.
So funding is the problem. That's why I hope that if we have the funding, it's not going to be a jamboree, it's just going to be something that I'm sure will be very impactful and will be saving funds.
We'll give you the support to ensure that this agency, if necessary, to become a full-fledged ministry that will be able to serve Nigeria's diaspora.
Senator Issa Jibrin was particularly concerned over the management of diaspora funds.
I think you need to develop an investment guide, okay, such that a percentage of that fund should be invested in risk-free areas, such as federal government bonds.
We need to make a more independent and solid.
This meeting is preparatory to budget defense session of the commission.
Well, that wraps up this week's episode of the program. I am Ekene Ndulue. Thank you for sharing your time with us. More from Senate 109 will come your way next week. Bye for now.